I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?
Peace, happy family. Welcome to another exciting edition of HAPI Talks. I'm your host today, Taki Grant. We have a very extraordinary show this afternoon. We have his brother King Randall, who's the CEO and founder of the Life Preparatory School for Boys. It's a very important endeavor. This initiative is something that's very needed in our community. We often talk about the plight of the Black community and ways in which we could mitigate or get around some of the things that we're experiencing. And one of the things we need to understand, we need to address some of these things with children, particularly young Black boys. But before we bring in the brother, we definitely want to kind of see what we have here in the building, give a shout out to some people, give folks a chance to, come in and get relaxed, get settled in. Also, while we're doing that, we want to just make sure for all our new viewers out here that you're signed up for the HAPI newsletter, that you've actually seen HAPI, the foundation of the HAPI movement. It's very important that you actually watch the film and watch this movement at its birth, at its inception, its creation in terms of what it is. And definitely shout out to all those who were involved in this project and this endeavor from the beginning. Brother Rock, who's an ancestor now, Seed, Felicia, all those people who've been a part of this movement as we push this forward. And in this HAPI family that we have, the connection with others and the alliances and the relationships that we've established since the beginning is essential. Shout out to Ken Harris, a powerful brother, Brittany Motley, King Simon. Oh man, so many people. I know I get names, people are going to be upset. Jabari Osaze, Shana Ma'at. So many people. That's definitely been a huge part of this. All the elders, Dr. J, some of the ancestors, Renoko, Sister Pat Newton, Professor James Moore, we got to mention him, Brother Kaba, so many people that's been involved with this thing. And we're really happy to have you people here. All those people who've been a part of this, John Henry Staples, Laurie Johnson, so many people, so many lovely people. And we're definitely happy to be a part of this. We have some powerful announcements we're going to be making shortly. And hey, Laurie, how you doing? We're just looking forward to moving forward. Definitely, like I said, watch HAPI. We had our conference this past spring in Detroit. Those who have not seen the One Africa Power and Unity Conference, you're missing out. Go to hapifilm.com. Make sure you get a copy of the conference and be a part of this experience. We're going to have a show coming up soon talking about the history of the conference and why we switched from Egypt to Detroit. I know we mentioned some things before, but we're going to get into some details that we haven't shared with the family in the next upcoming weeks. So definitely stay tuned for that. On the reason why we need to kind of stand tall, stand together. We see these other communities do it. And you see what's happening to the brother Ye. No matter what you feel or think about him, we need to understand where we are in this present time and how we need to align with each other. And the world is showing us how they align. And, Black people need to do similarly. Brother Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, for those who are not familiar with him, on the Brooklyn Nets, he's going through something similar now in regards to a tweet he shared about a documentary that they felt wasn't in line with their thoughts. And he's getting a lot of backlash from that as well. So, our truth bothers people, and we know that. So we need to stand firm in our truth and keep speaking it. So, these are things we're going to be talking about in the next upcoming days on HAPI Talks. With that, without any further ado, we're going to bring in our guest today, Brother King Randall. Peace, family. How you doing today?
Doing excellent, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming on. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot of big things going on down there in Georgia. And just for the family, just, for those who are not familiar with you, first thing, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is King Randall. I'm 23 years old. I'm the founder of the Life Preparatory School for Boys and the X for Boys program, where our motto is "Let us make men." We've been teaching boys how to make men. That's our well, excuse me, not boys, but we're teaching boys how to be men, and we're making men in our program. We've been teaching them how to work on cars, work on houses, you name it, changing toilets, changing ceiling fans, fixing cars, firearms training, martial arts, coding, etc. And just regular academic work, reading, writing, and literacy. Those are my big points in our program. But other than that, that's just a brief idea of who I am and what I do. And I'm sure we'll get more into those things in most of this interview.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we get started, family, just please like, share, and comment on the video. We talk historical concepts and cognitive thought a lot on this program, but here's an actual show where we have real time, real action put in place. We don't have a show like this very often, and this is very important. We have someone really actually doing the work in the communities. So we got to get this out to as many people, because this is where it's at. We can talk all we want about stuff that happened 5,000 years ago, but if you're not putting that into action, it's really a waste. So again, like and share and comment, get this video out to as many people as we can. So what inspired you to do the X for Boys program in a Life Preparatory School for Boys?
Originally, one of my classmates had went to prison for 30 years. He got sentenced to 30 years after hiding a weapon that was used in a murder. He wasn't at the actual murder, but he was responsible for hiding the weapon, and they gave him 30 years for tampering with evidence, I believe. But I believe, they were just giving him that harsh sentence, to satisfy the family. So that of the deceased. So that happened, and I realized at that time that we had no true rehabilitative programs for juvenile offenders in my hometown. We have juvenile offenders that are basically going to jail or youth detention centers, and they're just kind of going back to jail because there is no real rehab for our students and for our boys. We do have a few, like one program that the court system has. It's called functional family therapy, where they meet like once a week online or something, like for 2 months, and they call that rehabilitation. And I don't think that's real, rehabilitation for our students. They need something consistent, something they could have every day, so that they could have, all the time. So I believe things like that are extremely important for our boys. So that's kind of what inspired me to do so. And immediately after that, I started doing field trips with young men, doing different oil change workshops, brake change workshops, etc. Did a summer camp, discovered children couldn't read. I started a book club. COVID happened and forced me to stop what I was doing with our students. But I told parents at that time, well, if I was going to continue doing stuff, the kids had to come live at my house. And they came to live with me when I was about 19 years old. I put some bunk beds in my living room, and we made it happen. And right after that, I got into wanting to open our own school, because I was just seeing how our children, who may not be academically inclined and athletically inclined, are failing in the public school system because of their behavior issues, etc. And they cannot just fit in like all the other students, so they get into trouble because they don't have any consistency in their lives and no fathers, etc. So that's where I got the idea. That's what inspired me, and from then to now, that's what happened since I was 19, and now I'm 23.
Wow, it's powerful. This we had a comment from Mean Mommy a second ago. King Randall be putting in that work, and that's a fact, and that's definitely one of the reasons why we want to bring you on the show for the second time, and really celebrate your work and share your work with people, because we got to
shout out to King Simon.
Yes, that's facts. Shout out to King Simon. Definitely want to celebrate people who are really doing something. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and you definitely are an example of that. So we salute you. The Happy family salutes you. Definitely live strong. So one of the things you said, I want to go back for a second. You spoke about your friend who unfortunately had that unfortunate situation happen to him. How long ago was that?
That was when I was I had maybe just turned 19, or like I was still 18 at the time. But I remember he had reached out to me and asked, like, could I come like the court house with him or something and try and, help him or whatever like that. I was like, I didn't know what I was supposed to do, but I did speak on his behalf, and I was just like, if I could do something with him, I'm like, I don't see him, going to prison, for not even being at the scene of the crime. He was responsible for hiding a weapon, but I'm just like, I mean, yeah, punish him for that, but not 30 years worth of time for hiding a weapon. That makes no sense, to me. I mean, maybe a year or two or whatever like that, but 30 years, man, he's only 18 years old, so that stuck out to me. But yeah, that's what happened with him. Mm-hmm.
So for the past 4 years, how have things been? Where has this, now that the school and everything is established, where are you now in terms of the next steps?
Right now, we're just trying to, make sure we stay afloat. We are all boys boarding school. We don't run off any government funds. We are a free school. So the parents aren't charged any tuition for their children to come here. We also feed them 3 meals a day. We get their haircuts. We get their uniforms, their field trip money. All that stuff is exclusively from donors like you who are watching. So our school is ran exclusively off of donations. And that's something I love to tout because it takes people to take care of other people. So it hadn't taken me a long time to raise any money or whatever like that. I just simply post what we're doing and tell people we need help. And I told people we were going to open no matter what. So I have students at the school. We're taking care of them actively. Sometimes, it gets a little tough. Sometimes we having great times, but I want to make sure that we don't have to, dance to the tune of the government or anybody putting their hand in our curriculum or what we're trying to do with our students. So that's one thing I love, so we don't have to dance unless we like the music, and we don't have to scratch unless we itch, and I think that's extremely important. So that's huge for me, and we're able to do what we need to do with our students. Boarding for us is the key component. Because it helps develop habits with the students. A lot of them, or all of them, are losing weight. The ones who are overweight, they've been losing weight. They've become, more physically active and, doing more things, eating better food. Of course, they get in trouble, so sometimes I make them eat bread. Like I be like, they get in trouble. Everybody collectively got to eat bread for lunch, some bread and water, so it's really funny. But, they get so upset about it, because they love the meals that we'll cook for them. So sometimes they get in trouble. I'm like, okay, well, everybody going to eat bread today since y'all want to play games, so you just got to take stuff away from them and stuff like that. It's pretty funny, but because the stuff they be saying, but they 11, 12 years old. And, we have so many stories and memories already just within this 3 months time, and all the other memories I have with all my other students from the past 4 years that were just in the after school program. And now we have the kids living with us. So we're discovering so many different habits. And, and I always tell people all the time, the school and the program is not going to work for everybody. We're not going to, be able to best serve every single student. We make mistakes just like everybody else does, and for the most part, our students love being at the school, but, sometimes we may not be able to work with the student. We may have to dismiss a student or two, and I had to be honest with myself, and my team, has to be honest with me about certain students we're just not able to, work with, or, we have to move on, because I used to be like, oh, I'll take every child and every child's going to be changed. And, as I began working, with students, I started to realize, I'm like, teachers do not get paid enough, because now we're realizing, what happens in these classrooms and with students, and then, having to deal with, mamas who don't want to, be on our side, and not necessarily not being on the side of their child, but trying to listen to what we're telling them, especially that the children are boarding now. They're boarding, so we're discovering many habits with them, but I could go on and on all day about where we are right now, but it's a journey in itself. I get a little frustrated sometimes, and then other days I'm having great days. Got my personal life, all that stuff. It's a lot, juggling it all. But end of the day, I'm happy with what we're doing, and I wish to see us continue moving forward.
Right. So this is one of the first questions in line with that. Where is it located?
We are in Albany, Georgia. We're about 2.5 hours south of Atlanta.
Okay, in Albany, Georgia. And the ages are range from?
All boys that attend our actual school are in 6th grade. Enrollment is not open for any more students as of right now, but they're all starting in 6th grade. Next year, they will transition to 7th grade. And then we'll take in a new round of 6th graders, depending on what our funding looks like, etc. But if our funding doesn't look good enough for us to take in a new class, then we're just going to continue with the students that we have and graduate them out, until we can afford to bring in more students. But as of right now, they're all in 6th grade. Our after school program is for boys ages 11 to 17. That's always going to be running. That's always free. And we don't have a cap on that because they only meet, 2 to 3 times a week and do different field trips. So we don't mind however many kids want to come, to the after school. But as far as school, the actual school open, we only have 6th graders and their ages 11 and 12 as of right now.
So if family, you heard the brother speak about the help and the funding to grow this out. We had the information up there. We're going to put it back up. Speaking about how you can go show your support economically. You definitely want to, whatever you can, donate to this endeavor. This is something that's needed very much so in our community. We do understand the challenges of this. With that, King Randall, you have any ideas or thoughts about maybe expansion to other cities?
Yeah, eventually. However, I don't want to I know people start programs and stuff like that, and then they just start throwing them everywhere. I want to make sure we're best serving our students. And, right now we have a lot of holes in our school. We have a lot of things that we need to work on. We're not a perfect school. We're still figuring things out on our own. This is our first couple of months right now. So we're discovering things. We're trying to figure stuff out. There's a lot, that we're trying to put together. As far as making sure the school's running consistently, is everything's firing on all cylinders, is I guess I could say that. But before we even expand other places, we want to make sure we're best serving our students first and foremost. And then on top of that, if I were to expand to other cities, I want to go and do projects and check out these cities before we even just throw a school there. We want to make sure that school, wherever it is best serving those students in that city, because what the students here in Albany may need may not be what the kids in Detroit need, or Chicago or Houston. These children are all different. They have different cultures. They're learning different things. They're exposed to different things. So I want to make sure we're best serving the students where they are, because the curriculum for the kids down here may not look like the same curriculum for the kids in Chicago. So I want to make sure we're best serving those students, and the curriculum is ever evolving to make sure that we are best serving those students in the schools.
Right. So on a personal note, and you kind of alluded to this a second ago about just, do you have time for yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is King Randall self-care looks like?
I mean, well, my assistant and my mom, they always like, you're always kind of working, because in my brain, I never let it sit, especially if I'm not where I want to be. I have the same 24 hours in a day as Jeff Bezos and Elon and all those guys. And heck, The Rock pulled a 26-hour day the other day. I mean, if they can do it, I can make it happen, and I'm not where I wish to be, nor my students. Even Kanye, he's talking about, making 5 beats a day in the summertime in his little apartment and stuff to become, one of the greatest musicians and entertainers of all time. So right now, while I have the energy, while my back ain't hurting, while my knee ain't giving out on me, I want to make sure I'm, working as hard as I can. But sure, yeah, I take time for myself, when the boys have their breaks. Like right now, they're on break for the weekend, so they're at home. So I kind of just sit down for a moment and think about what's going on, maybe lay down for a bit, play video games for a little while, watch some wrestling. I'm a big WWE fan. I'm sure you see all the belts in my office behind me, but I'm a big wrestling fan. I love Alabama. I'm a student there. So I have my little stuff that I do on the side, spend time with my children, even though they attend the school also. But those are the only 2 babies here. And of course, my assistant's younger nephew, he's here with my students, my babies also. But I mean, that's kind of like my little time. I go play video games, or, ride in the car, listen to some music or whatever. But I'm still, on the other end, still coming up with ideas, still trying to work, and still trying to figure out how can I best, make things better when my brain does have time to relax and think about stuff. So yeah, just trying to figure out, other things. But yeah, I do get some me time, go get me a haircut or something, but that's about it.
Right. So we have X for Boys program and the
Mhm.
Life Preparatory School for Boys.
Mhm.
What is the distinct difference between the two?
The Life Preparatory School for Boys are the boys who actually attend the actual school, and the X for Boys program is just the general program where the boys are in general, like after school or what have you. But Life Prep is the actual school, so all the kids aren't attending the actual school. Some of them are in the X for Boys program, which is after school, and they don't actually attend Life Prep.
And this is actually like a boarding school. They live there.
Yep, our students live at the school.
It's great. It's great. So, in terms of a curriculum, and you spoke about some things in the beginning. Could you just talk about the curriculum again? Just what are some of the things that outside of the what we used to call when I was in school the 3 R's? What are some of the things that you guys teach there in the school?
Yeah, sure. Well, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with a basic curriculum, such as reading, writing, and arithmetic. But we also teach our main stuff is again manhood training. Of course, regular school stuff is fine, but developing habits for our boys is the most important thing for our kids. Habits build character, and character makes the man. That's what we believe in. So we're every day having to wake up at a certain time of the day, going to exercise at a certain time of the day, going to eat at a certain time of the day, studying at a certain time of the day, doing your studies at a certain time of the day. Like all this stuff, at certain times and doing it repetitiously, making sure they have consistency in what they're doing. They'll develop these habits and it'll be a part of their system. So exercising will be a part of them. Eating right and eating at certain times will be a part of them. Making sure they're doing their studies will be a part of them. I mean, we also have martial arts. We also they'll be doing welding, swimming, winter sports. All this stuff is important, but our main thing is manhood training. In order to be a man, you got to see a man. So we try to make sure we surround them with the types of men that we wish to see them be, and we also have women on our staff that we would like them to look at, and we want them to see those women and be like, I would like to marry that type of woman one day. That's what I want them to see. So just having a balance. So the women on our staff and the men on our staff, we just try to make sure we are the village for them. So I wouldn't necessarily just say it's like curriculum. It's just the culture of the school is the main thing that's teaching the students, because the regular school system curriculum, I believe, is just normal stuff they got to know, whatever. But the habits are what's going to make that child keep reading. The habits is what's going to make him actually do his work. The habits and the character of that child is what's going to make sure they succeed in school and in life in general.
I like that, preparatory. So you prepare them for life in a sense.
Basically. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You mentioned something about having sisters on the staff to help them see someone that they would inspire to marry.
Yes.
We talked about expansion in the sense of other cities, but what about expansion in the sense of opening up a side for young ladies?
Yes. So our head mistress, her name is Alexandria Van Dyke. She is a beauty queen. She also has her master's from University of Georgia. So she's a double dog there. But she is big on etiquette, and she's been a Miss Alabama, Miss Florida, Miss Albany. She's held a lot of titles. And not right now, she's a director, a state director for Miss Georgia. So she's been directing that pageant, but she's big on etiquette and taking care of yourself and all that stuff with girls. She's worked with Girl Scouts. She's done Girls Inc., Play Like a Girl, like all that stuff, she's been into. So, we're going to try and make sure that we get her to pilot and have that girls program, because at the end of the day, I want to try and help our students, be able to get married. That's something I want to happen, because I could be making these great young men, but I don't know who they're going out there to try and find and marry. But if we are pairing them, not necessarily telling them they got to marry such and such, but if we're pairing them as they get older and growing up together, those are just going to naturally happen. They're going to naturally want to be with, somebody that was at girls' life prep. We want to make sure that the girls have somebody to marry at the boys' life prep. So that's something that we want to see, building families. I mean, making sure they're equally yoked, because they'll be getting some of the same teaching, and we want to make sure that they are building healthy families that'll stay together and have more children and just make it happen.
Wow, That's powerful. This is real solution-based
Yes.
movement, really doing stuff that's changing the paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
You got to support this young brother and what he's doing, family. This is so important. You spoke about character, and I like what you said. Character builds habits, and habits build demand. How did you get your character built? Who instilled in you, and what is some of the people that, as a young man, you outside of the wrestlers that you were looking at and said, you know what, I want to be like them? How did King Randall, who's making King Randall who he is?
Well, I give credit to everybody that helped raise me: my grandfather, my grandmama, my mama, my former stepdad, my current stepdad, my uncles, all these people, in my village that helped raise me. My former stepfather was a country guy. He taught me how to, take care of animals and grow my own food and build houses and sheds and lay bricks and welding and all that stuff, shooting animals, skinning them, fishing, all that goodness. I know how to do all that stuff, cutting hair, whatever. I can do all of that on that side. He taught me so much growing up, just outside and manhood principles. And then my current stepdad, he's more shirt and tie guy, pay people to cut the grass type of person. But he was a former detective. And some people know him off the First 48, DeKalb County Detective Hardaway. He's retired now. But he taught me like how to do this, like give interviews and, wear a suit and things like that. That was his side of, who I am. And then my granddad, of course, just manhood principles. Uncle, same thing. These are guys that, helped me be who I am today. And that's how I know how to do all those things that I was teaching the boys, because I thought that all boys kind of knew how to do this stuff. But, everybody didn't have full families like I did. Even if they were kind of broken full, I still had contact with everybody, all my grandmamas, granddads, uncles, or what have you. I was able to get something from all of them, which is important. And in that way I could give these things to, the new students. So yeah, that's kind of who helped me, be who I am. And what just makes me who I am and makes me want to continue raising other boys. And that's another reason I want to have so many children. People nowadays are like, oh, I just want to have 1 or 2 kids. I'm like, you have lost your mind. I don't want to have 1 or 2 kids. I want like 9 of them. I want 10, I want a whole lot of kids. I think that's important. And then I was the only child for my mom. And then my mom's the only child, I don't have no like first aunts or uncles on my mom's side, because my grandmother never had any more kids but her, and it's just me on my mom's side. But my dad has a lot of children. I help raise my other brothers and sisters on my dad's side. My younger brother is like my protege, even though he's a little bigger. He's about 6 feet now, 6'1", I believe. So I'm only 5'7", but he's my big little brother. But I raised him. He'll give all credit to me with who he is. He's the best trombone player at his school. He got all A's, lowest grade of 98, and I make sure he has that work ethic. I punish him. I do what I need to do. We're about to send him off to college on next year, so I'm excited about what's happening with him. But literally that's family. Family helped me be who I am. I give all credit to them all the time, and of course God included.
Facts. So you speak a lot about discipline.
Mm-hmm.
and instilling discipline, which is an essential component. Why is discipline so important to you?
Oh man, well, let's look up the definition of discipline right here on Google, because I like to get into the actual word. The definition of discipline is the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior, using punishment to correct disobedience, a branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education. And in the verb form, it's to train to obey rules or a code of behavior. So the key part of that definition is code of behavior. And that's just manhood principles, how you conduct yourself, how you hold your head up straight, how you shake hands, how you walk, how you have confidence, how you project your voice. All this is a code of behavior. All of that is discipline. Habits are discipline. It's almost like a religion. You're doing stuff, on a consistent basis. That's who you are. You have a religious practice every day. That's not necessarily like an actual religion. It's just your religious practice that you have every day, where you wake up and do the same thing every day. You drink the same type of coffee, you play the same types of video games, you watch the same type of TV shows. All that is religion. So how can we make, what the discipline, for a man And that's what granddad taught you. You know, that's what, you know, your uncles taught you growing up, and we don't have that anymore. So that's why I talk about discipline all the time, because it's literally habits. You know, habits build character, and character makes the man. Every single time. Character is who you are when nobody's looking. So when I'm off this show, who am I off the show? That's character, and that's what we want to build and achieve. You know, real character, because I want the boys to be the same people when I'm not around, and the same people, you know, when people are not watching. That's extremely important. But discipline is the literal main thing for all men. A man who can't discipline himself, you know, will always be a hindrance to himself, whether that be sexual discipline, alcohol discipline, whatever, just any type of discipline. You know, all that is extremely important. I can't stress discipline enough. It's simply a code of behavior that you must abide by to take care of yourself.
Right. So let's talk about your name, King Randall. Is that your birth name? Is that what is the significance of that?
My full name is King Lakeet Anton Randall the first. Obviously the first because I have a son. He's the second. You have to talk to my mom about that, man. It's just King Randall. She said I will say she said when she was wanting to name me King, she said somebody at church told her that she couldn't do that because God was the king and something like that, and she was like, you know, no. Yeah, but that was kind of that. But I hadn't had any like special nothing. No,
you do. And shout out to your family.
Yes.
Salute them for pouring into you and developing you to be the king. You certainly are, and the name fits. She knew right away. I guess it's something she just intuitively she understood that.
Yes.
And I think you were named appropriately. You spoke about your two stepdads and the one with the suit. We actually have a picture with you in one of your nice suits we want to bring up in a second, you know, because definitely the people to see like the other side of you.
Yes.
We want to let that be seen. This is actually a picture was taken last year.
Yeah, I think
Orlando, Florida.
I actually think this was today last year, literally a year ago today. So.
Yeah, definitely. It was, because they're in the conference now. For those who know, the American All Black National Convention is right now in Charlotte, North Carolina. Dr. Boyce Watkins and his organization hold a very nice conference. We were at Orlando, Florida last year this time, and I met the brother King Randall. I had the opportunity to meet him. Really nice, extraordinary event, and I had the pleasure of meeting this young man. So definitely shout out again, salute to your family for doing a great job, and you know your mom's definitely had nailed right in the head naming you King. That's beautiful. It's nice.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, when in terms of the school structure, how often do the boys go home? Is it something like every weekend? Do the parents come visit them every day? Like, how does that work? What is that structure like?
Well, the boys only go home. They have monthly checkouts where they go home once a month if they don't have a break already. So they have the normal breaks just like regular school. So they go home like for fall break, Christmas break, spring break, teacher work days, whatever off days they have, you know, like the regular school, they go home. Or just some weekends we're just like, just if y'all want to get the kids, come get them, like just come get them for the weekend, make sure they had spend time at home. For the most part, their parents trust what we're doing. Like I said, it won't work for everybody. Some parents that just couldn't deal with it and had to take the kids back. Understood, but it's a different experience having them in boarding. But almost every parent has said, the changes they saw in their children and how much they love, the new discipline that they're getting and what they're receiving, from their students. But yeah, they go home just like normal breaks at the regular school.
Okay. What obstacles have you encountered in terms of like outside of like financial, in terms of opening up this school and starting these programs?
Oh man. Well, I got pushed back from our local, school district because originally we were trying to partner with them and open up a school with one of their buildings that's up for demolition. And we tried to purchase the building from them. They didn't want, they eventually after 7 months decided that they wanted to control the curriculum of our school in order for us to open. And we decided that wasn't the best idea. And we got into a huge debacle in our local hometown about that. Newspaper articles came out about me, the news, etc. People were, making all types of fabrications about me. People were doing podcasts, etc. in my hometown, just trying to tear me down and stuff like that. But, of course, I never responded. I just responded with more work every time. But other than that, man, we of course we just have like normal obstacles, people talking trash and what have you, that's normal. It's nothing like ain't supposed to happen when you're trying to do something great. I mean, when you're doing something awesome, you're going to get hit with something. And usually, like even today, like normally we just, whatever obstacles I have, I know something good, is coming right after that every single time. Or if something good happens, God has to send something to balance me out to make sure I don't get ahead of myself, and stay humble and meek with what I'm doing. So, usually I actually kind of look at my obstacles like, okay, something good's about to happen. So kind of let me relax. That's literally what happens every time. There has not been one negative obstacle where something huge didn't happen right after it. So now I just kind of like just wait for the obstacles. I'm like, oh, here's an obstacle. Let me go ahead and get over it so I can see what's on the other side. That's how God works. For us. So, it's not any like major obstacles that I just had to like, oh my God, it's just the normal stuff. It's just balance. So
just balance. Family, please like and share and comment. Definitely want to do that. Support the brother in terms of the endeavor, the preparatory school for life school for boys, the X for Boys program, and definitely please, as always, support the HAPI movement. You spoke about obstacles and negative podcasts, and I know you've probably spoken about this, but the infamous interview with you and Roland Martin, and I didn't get an opportunity to watch. I haven't watched the entire interview yet, and I always see that one soundbite. Was the entire interview of that same type of energy, or did it just kind of switch at some point?
Nah, it was pretty much like that the entire time. I've tried multiple times to have regular conversations with Roland, even on Twitter or whatever, and the only time he wants to talk is when it's time to fight or go back and forth and stuff. That's kind of, that's what gets viewers drama. So I guess he's turned himself into drama. He doesn't want to have a manly conversation. I've asked him, multiple times afterward, like, can we do something together? Can we try and, can you come down to my hometown? And I offered to pay for his flight and food and everything for him to come so we could do, some type of joint thing where, so because people only see us anonymous, with that interview. And I'm just like, let us both like do something together and, kill all that. Cause, I don't see the whole having no beef with people and stuff. I don't have time for that, but, he didn't want that to happen. So it is what it is. But yeah, that was pretty much the energy of the whole interview. I got riled up only at that moment and I kind of just calmed it back down. I try to keep my bearing for the most part. As one of our, principles here is keeping your bearing. And usually most men get in trouble because they lose their bearing. That is literally our biggest fight all the time is keeping your bearing. If you keep your bearing, you could save your life on a lot of occasions. But I lost my bearing at that moment and it paid off. But usually I don't lose my bearing. So
I mean, I honestly think you handled it very well. And everyone that knows me knows I'm an advocate for Black men controlling their emotions, or as you would say, losing your bearings. The margin for Black men is so small that when we lose our bearings, using your language, we lose, it's a life or death situation.
Yes, it is. And that's honestly, bro, I'm telling you, that's like men, period. Like that's going to become losing your family, finances, people on the job, whatever. We are forced to have to keep our bearing all the time. I tell people all the time, men don't have no rights. You can't name one right a man got. You better not lose your bearing. No. And that's the only thing you better keep. Because if you don't, you're definitely going to ruin yourself. We don't have a space to get mad. We don't have space to be out here angry and doing stuff. We can't do that. We don't have space to do that. Nobody has any excuses for us. We don't have any, nobody to fight for us. None of that. No, there are no excuses. You cannot lose your bearing. You have to keep your bearing because if you lose it, prepare to lose your life.
Facts. So, you know, when I see, going back to Roland Martin for a second, you know, when I see his he seems to be, let me use this term loosely, pro-black.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has dashikis on a lot of his shows, his interviews are, you know, are oriented towards our community. And I just don't understand why so much pushback with something like what you're doing. I just don't understand that. That's a little confusing to me. You know, you would think that it would be a lot more support coming from that, but it just seems like a lot of pushback. And I would love to actually ask him that question. But why do you think that is?
Well, being honest with you, our pushback from his side of the media is because if we were to push the type of school that I have, or, you know, just preaching masculinity and, you know, just people in general not doing the whole LGBT stuff or whatever, not that we have an issue with that, but our thing is, you know, we're trying to build families and make men, you know, and that side of the aisle is not about that. They're all about taking men away, and the patriarchy is bad and blah, 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 blah. So it's not the best to push what we're doing on our side because it's making men, and that's not the new thing in 2022 right now. The thing right now in 2022 is acceptance and ending racism. Let's keep everybody's racism lens on so we can't go and do stuff for ourselves in our community. Let's worry about how the white man could be hurting us tomorrow, you know, and not worry about what's going on in our communities right now. Let's not worry about how we could actually fix our communities, because I've inspired many people, you know, from across the country to do what we have done at our school. I've inspired other men to go and open things. I've had many men say, you know, I started something in my community because I saw what you were doing. So imagine if one of those, you know, platforms like his were to have me on, and me trying to tell people, no, you can go do this in your community with $0 and make it happen. Because so many people think that you can't make stuff happen, you know, with no money. I did it out of my house with people donating freaking water bottles, you know, to the boys, and whatever I could teach them, I taught them, you know. So that was, you know, extremely important to me. You know, so if we push, you know, that on those media outlets, it just drives the narrative back, you know, of, you know, men aren't needed and blah, 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 you know, and we're constantly there fighting for welfare and blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, it's a lot, you know, I could get into as to why that side, you know, of media will not push what we're doing. I mean, I've tried to get on the Breakfast Club. They won't have me, etc., because of the things that I believe in, you know, wholeheartedly in regards to being traditional, you know, and keeping our families together. And I've told them before, people always ask, well, will you take homosexual children? Absolutely. I have one student who is a homosexual who's just like, I like boys, and we like, that's cool with me. I don't care what you decide to do in bed, but you're gonna learn how to be a man while you're here. You know, that's wholehearted, you know, with us. I don't mind it. We don't treat him no different. Everybody loves him. He's cool, you know, and you know, but you're gonna dress like a man, you're gonna wear a suit, you know, you're gonna get a haircut, you know, all that normal stuff that a man gonna do. I don't care. You know, one of my best friends is homosexual. You know, he's since we were in high school, but you would never know unless I told you, because he carries himself like a man. You know, I'm like, that's important, you know, to me. So and as long as we're surrounding him with men, I don't care about any of that stuff. But I'm not having no boy come up here and dress like no girl. I'm not going to tell you or allow you to think that you're another gender or anything like that. We're not going that route. But you can come if you're homosexual. I don't mind that at all. But these different outlets will not have, you know, people like me on these programs, or even Brother Rizza. Brother Rizza is one of the most popular, outspoken activists, you know, in the country right now, and Breakfast Club won't have him on, you know, or any of those little outlets, or Roland, or none of those people. They won't have them on. Why would they have us on? Come on. Roland didn't know who I was when he brought me on the show, you know, and now he won't answer any other, you know, requests for me to come on the show, you know, because you realize who I was. I'm not with none of those normal talking points. I'm not that basic, you know, black dude who finna be out here telling everybody that the white man hurting all us all day and all that stuff, and all we need to worry about is racism and woo, 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 and blah, blah, blah. No. Well, let's worry about how we can fix our communities right now, because white people ain't making us do some of the stuff that we doing in our communities. Half the stuff we doing in our communities are literally just choices of our own, you know, and I say that all the time. So I'm just like, I'm not going to go on these platforms and let y'all sit here and make people sit here all day with these racism shades on, and we can't see nothing but racism all day versus what we can do in our community. So that's why those outlets won't have us on, because we all about doing for self.
All about doing for self. Everybody get his brother salute, man. Definitely a big shout out to you. So you spoke about RZA a second ago. I believe this spring, I think the end of April, beginning of May, you had a big event down there.
Yes.
Right. The boys, RZA, a couple other folks was there.
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, we had our Power and Unity conference, and we were actually, we had to stream him from Albany, Georgia, to be a part of the conference because everything was going on at one time. But he was like, we like working with HAPI. We definitely want to be a part of this. When we down here in Albany, Georgia, I think that was the day of the march. You had a march on that Sunday.
Yeah, we was having a march in our hometown. I had got sick actually before the march, and I wasn't even able to do it. That weekend, like, we had the event and everybody came except for Dr. Umar, but everybody came, man, and I literally completely lost my voice. Like, I couldn't say anything. It was crazy, and like, I had just got super sick, and I just had got extremely exhausted. But we had a great time. All the guys, we played basketball in the gym. It was so cool at the school. We had Brother RZA, Brother Ben X, Dr. Boys, literally the whole squad who was all in there playing basketball, man. And we shared some intimate moments at the table when we had dinner and stuff. Like, it was beautiful. And then for me to be able to bring all those guys together, I had some conservative black men and the regular black men and the hotel pro black men, all of them in one unit, just agreeing with the same things. It was so beautiful to see, man, and that's what I wanted to see with our men.
So just tell the family briefly a little bit about the event and what was the inspiration behind it.
Name of it. Yeah, it was the I Am a Man march. I'm not sure if you see that little picture right here. That was the first march I ever did when I was 19 at the time. I had about 250 guys in our hometown. We marched, just in our hometown, just talking about violence, and for us to go take back our communities. That was our big thing. Us taking back our community because of so many murders and stuff happening in our hometown, and all of our men, and boys that that just committing crimes and going to jail and just missing out on some consistency. And I was just saying, we have enough men in our communities, in all communities really, that don't have children, that need to go take up at least 1 or 2 children under their wing. Every man should be responsible for one child that's not his, at least one. Even if you do have children, you should be responsible for at least one child that's not yours. Because there could be so much change if more men, decide to get behind and help take care of children who need it. And I'm sure many moms would not mind, other men, coming to help them with their children. I've said that multiple times. We need to make sure that our men are getting behind our children that we're raising in our communities. Even talking about, these different institutions that we claim are racist, I'm always like, well, I don't think that the institution is racist. I think the people in there are racist, because I haven't had a racist incident happen in our hometown. Why? Because we have almost all black police officers here. Our chief is black, all the captain's black, everybody's black. We don't have those issues here. Why? Because those people were raised here. Almost every police that pulled me over, I know them. So we don't have those issues down here. So how about you go and raise the new police officers that go in those departments? How about you go raise the new the freaking prosecutors? 94% of prosecutors are white. What do you think is going to happen? Go raise prosecutors, go raise new judges, go raise these people that got to go work in these systems in your community. That's how you're going to make it change. Or whatever. You have to go put these people in these places, not telling children that they shouldn't want to be police. Nah, I got kids who want to be officers. Go be that, because I'm going to be more comfortable sleeping or getting pulled over because I know I raised the man pulling me over. I'm like, this is how you, systemically make change in your communities. You have to start raising them from the ground up, not waiting till they're 19 or 20 years old to finally start talking to them or start worrying about them. No, worry about them while their brain is like a sponge. When they're 9, 10, 11 years old, that's when you start training them. That's when you start getting into their brains. That's how you make it happen. But this is all requires consistency, and nobody's interested in that anymore.
Damn, shit, you hit that right in the head. And I'm not laughing. I'm smiling because as you're speaking, I'm just like, wow, this is gospel. And these are words I don't use, but this is the solution. This is the way in which how we affect change. Mm-hmm. And this is actually a real plan that we could actually implement. And maybe the problem is we want things kind of ready-made. Takes time. This is preparing generations, next generations. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's cool. But we got to start someplace. And this is definitely a great a starting point. Just before we move on, I just want to give a shout out. I saw Dr. David LaRoche. He had a question. I want to get a shout out to Alex Van Dyke, your team member, because she was right on it, answered that question.
Shout out to the head mistress. Man, she's awesome.
Definitely see, they on point, your people on point. Brother, I had the question about the school and she was boom, right on it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely shout out to Alex Van Dyke. Shout out to you people who support you, because that's so super important. And in response to that, Dr. LaRoche said he's going to definitely donate some books to the school.
Sure.
As we move on, we actually have a video of the school, the kids, and give the family a chance, the opportunity to kind of see them and see their reaction towards what their environment that they're in, that you've cultivated. So we're going to go ahead and play that now, and then we'll come back and we'll have some further questions.
Sure.
All right. So
yeah. I don't know if the sound is on.
Yeah.
All right. Sound. It's all good.
No. Well, as we work on that, we'll get the sound piece worked out, but we'll come back to some of the other questions that we have. So from like an artistic standpoint, children that want to be, is there like an artistic program, kids that want to be creative, like artists, like filmmakers, things of that nature, anything, those type of curriculums included?
Well, for right now, I don't have an art teacher or any like creative team for that right now. I do have students who want to be in film. One of my students, who does wish to work with the camera and do photography and videography, etc. I took him, he's actually in high school. I took him from high school and I pay him to do all of our videos. So I took him from high school. He's homeschooled with me and he does all of our videos. So he travels with me. He does our videos. He does our pictures, just kind of teaching him, the ins and outs of, social media, networking and stuff like that. So any of those students who tell me what they want to do. Now, if one of the students had ever said they wanted to get into artistry or whatever, then of course I would try and pull in an art teacher. But right now, with the students I have, I try to just bring people around them that are in the fields that they're kind of aiming toward. I don't have any like children who want to paint or anything like that right now. But as far as like video game coding, I have, them doing coding every week right now, teaching them how to like make video games and stuff. And right now they're in the basics of coding right now. So they're just doing that. But also, like I said, my student that wants to be in film and do photography and stuff, he takes our pictures, he does our videos. I pay him to do so. His mom, trusted me to take him out of high school and homeschool him. So he's doing well. But usually whatever the students tell me they want to do or wish to do, I try to make sure I push them in that direction. But whenever I do get a kid who's interested in like painting or whatever like that, I have the resources and I have the people to reach to make sure that he gets what he needs to be able to get into that.
Wow. So we also have some images from the school that I want to bring up and kind of show.
Okay.
And we can kind of talk to each point of those, because there's certain, I think it kind of breaks down just the different fields that are available or that are kind of being taught. So we're going to go ahead and bring that up, and while we're doing that, we can get the video going. So these are some of the things and you see, like, now could you just, as they're going, could you just kind of talk about some of this stuff?
Yeah, sure. If you could scroll to the left a little bit on those photos right there. Yeah. So those photos right there are pictures of the first houses we painted. If you scroll a little bit more to the left, if you look all the way down, these two houses, or this first house right here, this gray and black one, well, that's before and after. So that was the first house we ever painted, and I'll tell you a quick little story about that house that we painted right there. We were already painting the insides of people's houses. My younger brother and I. This was in the middle of COVID. But we were already painting the insides of houses already. And, you know, I told you I've been painting for a while. I know how to do, you know, a lot of stuff, but I'd never painted the outside of a house before. That was new on my list or whatever, never done it. And we were in Home Depot one day, me and my younger brother, looking for some paint to go inside somebody's house. And this older lady came up to me and she said, "Hey, do you guys paint houses?" I'll never forget it. My brother looked at me. I looked at him. I looked back at her. I said, "Yeah, we paint houses." And she was like, "Well, I want y'all to come by and look at my house." She gave me the address and we went by there and looked at it. And I told her I'd charge her $1,000 for it, you know, just because I didn't know like price points for it or nothing. I just like, we'll just start there. It's going to be our first time. We're going to start cheap. All right. So, and that included us buying, product and stuff, which I shortchanged myself, of course, at that moment, but never painted a house before. I didn't want to mess up. So anyway, me and my brother literally stayed up, like 6 or 7 hours, like watching videos on how to paint houses. So after we were done with that, we went and got all the equipment we needed. It took us about 4 days to finish painting that house, man, and it was amazing. We enjoyed doing that. We posted it, and we got so much clientele after that. Started painting more houses. Scroll to the left. We painted. Scroll to the right. We painted somebody else's house. After that, and we have another client that we painted. If you go down, I'm big on firearms training. I'm a former Marine. I'm big on demystifying the weapon for our boys. I believe that is extremely important for our students. We do not just want to teach our boys about guns, and that kind of drives me insane because I'm just like, these children are going to go want to learn about weapons on their own. So I think the best thing to do is to demystify this weapon for them and let them get a chance to do it, as well as learning how to defend themselves, and respect the weapon. I believe that is important. No matter what people think about it, I think that is this is preventing accidents from happening. This is preventing the curiosity. This is preventing a lot of stuff from happening, and them actually knowing what to do with the weapon when you see one, etc., and learning to respect it. I think you can keep going now. Let's see what else we got here. Plasma cutting. This is similar to welding, but plasma cutting is like literally just cutting metal. Simple as that. And the boys were able to make like letters with they were just kind of like, I guess, experimenting with the plasma cutter at the time. And that's a very expensive piece of equipment, and plasma cutters make a lot of money because some of those guys literally know how to make like really cool designs with metal. Some of the things you may see in the stores that go on people's walls, etc. These people just literally just cut metal, and they have artistic ability to be able to do these things. So that's something that I like to see. And then basic home improvement, changing toilets, changing ceiling fans, painting, doorknobs, sheetrock. Those are basic things that I believe every man should know how to do. I mean, you should be able, if your lady say, "Hey, baby, I want the living room to be red today," and you got to go to Home Depot, know which aisle you're going on, what equipment you need, be able to go in there and put some red paint on that doggone living room wall, like she said. Or, "Baby, I need a new toilet in this bathroom, or it's leaking. I need you to be able to go back there and turn the water off and make it happen." Like, for example, like my stepdad, my current stepdad right now, I told you he's not country. He don't know none of that plumbing stuff or nothing like that. He just paid people to do it. So right now, my mom's house got flooded because he didn't know like where to go turn the water off. And what's funny is they live in Atlanta, and I was in town at the time, but I didn't know what was happening until, it was too late. So it was running like 30, 40 minutes because he had went to the neighbor's house. He was like, "Hey, how do we turn the water off over here?" Because a pipe had burst. And I'm like, "You got to go outside and go to the freaking thing and turn it off." You should have did that in 5 minutes, but he didn't know. I understand. But these are things, again, that I feel like, everybody should know at any time. How to go to the power box, how to install plugs in the wall, how to put up a ceiling fan. If your lady says she want a new look in the bedroom, you better go be able to change that ceiling fan when she asks you to, or go in and put a new mirror in that bathroom, or put a new backsplash on that shower like she asks, or put a new tub in. This stuff is easy, and it's on YouTube. You should be able to know how to do these things for your lady. I say that all the time. Even my mom, like just from just from doing this stuff. I also know how to arch eyebrows. I know how to paint toenails, all that stuff. Why? My mama said you need to know how to do this for your girlfriend or your wife one day so you can pamper her sometime. You know, all this is important. You use this stuff, man. You know, hey, my family gave me the game. All of this is important. Fencing, that stuff is easy. Like all this stuff that y'all see all the time that people get paid thousands of dollars to do is so easy to do. It's not hard. You know, and these people get up every day and go make the easiest money because people think it's the hardest stuff in the world. It's never hard, and stuff get easier if you got the right equipment. If you have the right tools, you can make stuff happen way faster. Instead of using a screwdriver, buy you a drill. Instead of using a hammer, use a freaking air pressure freaking thing, air compressor, and get a freaking gun for that. Like, it's all this stuff happens so fast, you know, if you got the right tools, you know. So instead of using a saw, use an electric saw. Like, all this stuff can happen so fast. Automotive repair, same thing. If your wife say the car making a knocking noise, you should already be able to diagnose it before you even go look at the car. You know, like literally, you should have a knowledge of these things. You know, the car won't start. Okay, well, maybe it's the alternator or the starter, or the lights coming on the dashboard. Or the lights coming on, it might be the starter. You change the starter, that car can cut right on. But if the lights ain't, are they flickering on the dashboard, it's probably your alternator. You know, or just little stuff. Hey, the car running high. Okay, well, you need to go check and see if you got some coolant in there. If the coolant keep running out, you probably got a hole in there. You probably need to change your radiator out. Like, all of this stuff, you should know these things. You know, just in case you need to fix something at the house, you know, for your lady. Changing the thermostat, that's another reason your car could be running hot. Your thermostat could be old. You could have coolant in there, but your thermostat could be old. You need to pop that thermostat out. It don't take them but 5 minutes. You pop that thermostat out, put a new one in. Because if you go to a freaking mechanic shop, they're gonna tell you that you need a new radiator when all you need is a thermostat, and that thing costs what, $17, and you fix it, and there you go. But they're gonna tell you that you need a new radiator. You paying $400-500 for a new radiator, and your car still ain't fixed. It's still running hot, and all you really need was a thermostat. These are little things, you know, that we have to know. So yeah, that's it.
So, wow, these, I guess, 7 programs that you had illustrated here, are they for everyone in terms of the Extra Boys program, or just for the schools, the students in the school?
Yeah, all boys school and a program included. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, that's dope. There's a couple things that stood out as you were speaking a second ago, and one of the first things was demystifying the weapon. Mm-hmm. Is that a term for the Marines, or that's something that you came up with?
I'm sorry, I like words, so I'm going to look up the word demystify for you to give you the definition. So it says demystify means to make a difficult or esoteric subject clearer and easier to understand. So when I say demystify the weapon for them, I'm literally meaning to take away that curiosity and help them to understand it, because a lot of them are just out here sampling and playing around with weapons with their homeboys or guys they saw on the streets or what have you. This is what these guys, you know, are doing, and half the time, you know, they be shooting and they don't even be shooting at nothing. They be shooting all over crazy and stuff. They don't know how to shoot in the first place or whatever like that. But you know, it's I believe that is important to eliminate accidents. There are so many gun accidents that happen year round that nobody talks about because people don't know what to do with weapons. My son knows exactly what to do when he sees a gun. From when he was 2, he knows what to do. I didn't hide it from him. I didn't say, "Oh my God, we have to show you, get away from a baby." No. When you see this weapon, you see something like this, you bring it straight to daddy. Every single time you bring it to daddy, you know, because I'm like, you better not, you know, do nothing with you. Bring it to daddy every time. If anybody had a gun laying around, whatever, hey, daddy, hey, it's a gun in there. You know, hey, daddy, here, get this, you know, whatever. We don't play like that. You know, that is extremely important versus me trying to be cute with it and hide it from him. Then he find it one day and then something happens. You know, this is important. Even with older kids, you know, they just playing around with guns and don't realize what you're doing. You're not realizing, like, the boys know what to do when you pick up a weapon. The first thing you do is make sure that weapon is clear. You treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point your weapon at anything you don't intend to shoot. You keep your finger straight and off the trigger until you're ready to fire. You know, all these things are extremely important. You keep your finger off that trigger. I don't care if there's no bullet in there. I don't care if you already cleared it. You don't point that weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot, period. You're not trying to shoot it, don't aim it. That's important. And don't point it at anybody. You know, that's All that is important. I don't let my son, like, I let him play with toy guns, but he already knows not to point it at nobody. You can point it at the ground, you can point it at the wall, but you can't point it at people. Nerf guns included, all that stuff, until he's old enough to understand that. So all this is important, to be teaching our students. But it's like, people are just, oh my God, we need to run away from guns and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, I don't think that's the smartest thing to do. I'm like, we need to keep these guns, because people who want guns, are going to get them illegally, regardless of you saying, half the people that commit crimes with guns anyway have them all illegal. You can rarely name a time there was a crime committed with a gun that the person actually owned. And I'm like, no, these people are taking guns, from people. So they're still going to commit these crimes with these guns, no matter how much you outlaw it. You can outlaw it all day, but these people are going to keep these guns, period. And I think that's something for folks to understand. I'm like, so I don't know about you, but I'm gonna keep all my guns. I want all the big guns. I want the little guns. I want the medium-sized guns. I want the RPGs. I want grenades. I want all of it. So just in case you decide to come up in my house, I love Jesus. I praise God and all that stuff, but I pray, and I'm happy that the death angel decides to ride by my house every night and not bother me. But if he decides to stop, I got something for him every single time.
Oh, damn. Big guns, medium-sized guns, small guns, RPGs.
Yep, I want it all.
So with that being said, the Marines, how significant has the service been in terms of your development?
I think I will say I don't recommend any of my students, to go to the military unless that is a dream of theirs. Like, if they come in and say, that is my dream, that is what I believe my life's purpose is, I don't go to the military. I'm not letting them go if that's not their reason. If they saying they just ain't got enough to do, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble. No, you're not going for that. You're going to go, because you want to go. Like, this is your dream. This is what you want to be. I'm not letting them join just because, but I think that everything that happens in my life is for a reason. And I believe wholeheartedly, if I hadn't went to the Marine Corps, I wouldn't have been able to learn how to discipline the students as well as I am being so young. Because people always ask, how can I, like, we were walking out and how can we get our kids to act like that? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's simple principles, that we learn in the Marine Corps, and simple ways to discipline that I learned in the Marine Corps. So I'm glad I went. I believe that was the sole reason I went, was to learn how to discipline. And literally that's how I'm able to keep the children in line, when I'm around and I'm trying to teach my other instructors how to do so. Because sometimes it gets a bit annoying when I have the students with me and they're just immaculate. I don't have any issues, but as soon as I leave, they want to try all the other instructors and try and do. It's like when I'm around, they ain't doing none of that stuff. Even my son, I don't have none of the issues he has that his mama has all day. She'll call me, he's disrespect, he's talking back, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I haven't witnessed any of it. He says, yes, sir, no, sir. He gets the proper greeting of the day, all that stuff. But as soon as he with that mama, he'd be a whole new kid. I'm just like, so, that's something, but that's what they do, so it's like trying to teach my instructors, like, how to have that authority over them where I don't have to be around, or they don't have to call me to get into it, because they'll just talk back and blah, 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 so again, it takes time, but literally you start off like a bulldog and you become their friend, so I start off like somebody they don't want to play with, and then as time goes by, I give them a little bit more love and attention and freedom, but also reminding them who I am, every now and then.
So that actually kind of segue into this next question. In regards to the school, is there some type of an intake process in terms of, a form of a questionnaire? Like, how do you determine, especially schools with children been from different environments, is it an intake process entering the school?
Yeah, the intake process we had this year, where they just simply had to be from Georgia, residing in Georgia, and not have been expelled from their previous school because of the platform that we use to keep up with their grades. That was it. I don't have any special, stuff they have to have or none of that stuff. I try to not take any kids. I mean, as long as they're able to participate in the activities, I don't mind if they have autism. I don't mind if they have a mental disorder, whatever, as long as they're able to participate in the physical activities, to a point, I think that's important. That's all requirements that I have to be able to make a man out of that child.
So are we ready on the video? Okay. So we'll kind of skip that. So what about conversations with parents? Do you feel like you, in some sense, you gotta actually like maybe educate parents on certain things before
Yes.
taking kids in?
Yes, we do. But one thing I love about our parents, first and foremost, is any parent who's going to sign their child up to go to a boarding school already is willing to listen. I haven't had any issues really with maybe only one or two parents who didn't want to hear what we were trying to say, in regards to their child. I told you earlier that, teachers don't get paid enough, because I understand now having to deal with parents who don't want to listen to you tell them what their child is doing. Oh, this has never happened. I never experienced this with my child. I know my child. I'm like, well, I don't have a reason to lie on your child. I'm just like, why would I lie on him? I'm telling you what's happening. And I had to explain them, like, listen, there was stuff that I did in school that my mama never found out about. There was stuff that I did at school that teachers may know about. They never call home about it or whatever. But if I'm actively trying to tell you what's happening, I'm like, what would I have? What is going to benefit me to lie on your child? But this is what we deal with, people don't want to listen. But of course, most of the parents that we have are willing to listen. They are willing to get behind us. We have a universal front because they trust in what we're doing. No matter whatever hiccups we may have sometime, they know we're an up and starting program. So a lot of them, they love me and they're engaged in what we're trying to do. So we literally have, a universal front with them. And I'll tell them sometimes, sometimes the kids are acting just like their mom. I say, Mama, look at what he's doing. He's acting just like you, and they're just like, I never even paid that any attention. Like, I have to be able to have those open conversations with moms. I have to be able to fuss at them sometime, and they listen to me, and I listen to their concerns also, so I think that is important. Like I said, I ain't perfect. I ain't the best parent ever. I ain't the best listener ever, so, but this is all in, growing pains, I guess. But definitely have had moments where you had to teach, parents different things about, discipline and how to best work with their child.
Oh, this question here, I'm sure you probably get a lot, and I'm sure people in the audience is probably interested in hearing about that, and or hearing this, I should say. And I think we have the video ready, so we'll ask this question, then we're going to go to the video.
Sure.
You get a lot of, not necessarily pushback, but just a lot of maybe lack of support because of your age.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how's that been, fighting that battle? Because I know there's nothing you can do about your age in terms of how old you are, but how's that been for you in terms of fighting that struggle?
Well, for the most part, man, originally, it used to be annoying, when I first started out, but after people saw the work, it was just hard to continue arguing with me about my age. That just is what it is. People have tried their hardest to talk, about, oh, he's too young, what he know about this and that. I'm like, well, I am young. You're right. But what are you doing? That was my thing all the time. I'm like, okay, well, I'm so young. Why you not doing no work? If I'm so young, you should have been doing two, 3 times the work that I'm doing. So what are you doing? You're 48 years old and you're talking trash about a 20-year-old. What do you look like? So these were, questions that I had, that never got answers, of course, but as I just continued doing work, I never responded. I just continued doing work. But I'm glad, my manager has me on a leash, because my age does show a lot. I will call and maybe want to make a post or whatever, about somebody, and things like that, but, who people or to respond to people, but I don't have a need to, but sometimes I do want to get on there and, hey, let me tell you about yourself really quickly, but, I have to keep my bearing again and, keep making it happen because the students are what's most important, and if you're not doing nothing, people ain't going to be talking. So.
Facts. Shout out to 2 people. Again, you see Alex Van Dyke on point, definitely just holding it down with the information. And Gene Smith, one of our happy supporters, always supporting every show. We love you, Gene. Thank you for your love donation. Thank you for your Cash App love. So go ahead. We're going to play the video now, and we're going to come back and we're going to close out the show.
Sure. Are we getting the sound? No, we're not getting the sound. Do you hear the sound?
Nah, not hearing the sound. So, all right. So what we'll do, and while that's going, you could just kind of just give us an idea what's happening here.
Sure. This is my first video ever that I had ever done. My first real production video. I was about 20. Yeah, I was 20 years old in this video. These were my first students that I had to come live at my house. My younger brother was right there in the back just then. But this is the first video I had ever had, and I was explaining to people, how Albany is one of the most poorest cities in the nation, got one of the, highest crime rates, and we were basically the only standing rehabilitative program for juvenile offenders in Southwest Georgia. So I just want to get people get a look at our students, some of the things that we are doing with our boys, and things that we're teaching them. But this was important to me for people to see. And this video, did numbers. It went viral. It's been all, across the world. It has been in Europe. It has been in Australia. It has been in Canada. I've seen so many news, reports about our school and our boys, that were in languages that I couldn't even understand what they were saying. All I saw was my picture, and I saw videos of our boys. So this video has been some of everywhere. People all over the country and all over the world have seen this video right here, and I was glad I made it happen. But you could definitely, see my age. I'm aging, as time goes by. I had hair there. I do not have any anymore. And it won't grow back. That's just the game. So, but yeah, time, it happens, but I'm grateful for just my growth. I was definitely a completely different person here. I was a completely different person when I was 20 years old, and I think you should be a new person every year. I always say, every birthday you should be greater than the year before. So who I was at 20, I'm definitely not that same person right now. I'm still growing and still evolving, and still, having people in my corner to help me, become who I am, so I'm just trying to become a better listener. I've not been the best listener, always because of just who I am, my ego and stuff like that. Those are things that I could admit, ego is the enemy sometimes, and even when people have your best interests at heart, you still trying to, do your own thing and not listen and stuff, but sometimes it come back to bite you, and that's something I'm having to discover and understand. I don't mind admitting my mistakes or just places I've messed up. We all human, and I hope nobody don't think I'm perfect out here, because I sure got a lot of things that I've done wrong, as we all have, but that's why I want to make sure, that, I don't never appear perfect or anything. I have many mistakes that I make. Like I said, I'm not a good listener, but I've been trying to learn to listen and do what I have people on my team, tell me to do. And that's what I have them for. I think that's extremely important. I think people will do better, by me and our program if I become a better listener. So that's my goal for this year, become a better listener, and, just being better. But I think, you should be an ever evolving man. You should be able to listen and continue moving forward. But that's about it with that video, man. That was one of our most beautiful videos ever. I still think it's the best video I got. I got more videos, but that one there, like, I remember the first time I watched it, I almost cried, and that's my video. Like, yeah, so he did an excellent job. I love our videographer, man. He is amazing at what he does.
Yes, sir. Wow. Family, please like, comment, share. You're hearing this real time. The brother King Randall was really giving us some hard solutions, things that we can do right now to improve our situation. It's important to get this message out. For those who are in the audience that want to show their love, they can do it through the super chats, Cash App, or the stars. Definitely want to support this program. The brother has some, ways in which you can support him. The donations, we can put that back up in a minute, but we definitely want to make sure we get this information out. What's next for Life Preparatory School for Boys in King Randall?
As of right now, man, I'm just focused on fundraising right now to make sure we could stay open for the next quarter. We haven't been doing good fundraising at the moment, but I'm just going to try and get on some new fundraiser campaigns so we can stay open for the next quarter with our boys. We're trying to get our boarding house finished, so that way the boys will have somewhere to stay, because I don't like them being at the institution. I don't want it to feel institutional. I want to have a home to go to. So my mom purchased my boyhood home that we grew up in. We've been getting it renovated right now, so we've been trying to raise money to get that finished, so our boys will have somewhere to be every day instead of just solely institutional. I want to make sure they have a home they could go to. They have their own rooms, and they have their own TVs, like literally just like home. I want them to have a home they go to, somewhere they can go rest and have some tranquility. But yeah, what's next, man? I don't know, man. People always ask me for these future plans. I'm just like, listen, I'm just trying to make sure the school, happens. My staff knows I have new ideas every single day, but they have to keep me grounded. So who knows what I might come up with tomorrow, man. Tomorrow I might say I want to build a rocket and go to the moon, and I'm gonna make it happen too. But that's me. I never know what's next. Just whatever God puts in my heart, whatever I dream about. I'm all about making whatever I want to happen, happen, and just being that example for our boys. But that's about it, man. Don't know yet. I just want to make sure we remain open and continue making men, and revamp our after school program, actually. But as of right now, man, I've been having a interesting day. I had my kids today, but my godmother passed away a couple hours ago, right before I got on here, man. And it was a hit to my family, especially. And that was my grandma's best friend, man. And it just kind of hit us. She was responsible for helping raise me when I was younger. And she's always been trying to fundraise for the school and stuff, man. And that, just getting that news earlier, it just hit home. So yeah, definitely just trying to continue making some things happen with our school, though, and trying to, again, balance personal life and also making sure our students get the best education possible.
Please, accept the condolences extended from the HAPI family, and do know that she's still going to be helping you fundraise, even though she's not with you here in the physical anymore.
Yep.
And that having those spiritual allies is not equally, maybe even more important. So definitely ashe to your godmother, and may she rest in peace.
Yes, sir.
So do you have any other things that you want to add or close out with?
Now, as of right now, everybody, you can always follow us at New Emerging King, or you can go to our website at theexforboys.org. You can go there and see our photos, videos, how to reach out. Go see our pictures again, videos, all that stuff. You can go see how to donate. We have other ways to donate, not just monetary. We have our Amazon wish list, Amazon Smile, Walmart wish list. You can go in there and donate like items that we have that we need just for our school as they come up. Like sometimes the boys just want to put stuff on there that they want, and then we have to put stuff on there that we need, and people try and give everything possible to our school, and I'm super grateful for that. But any other way that people want to donate, please feel free to check out our website at the X for Boys. And of course, we got merchandise. If you go to the xforboys.org/shop, you can go get our sweatshirts, our lanyards, our whatever. Alex will be greatly appreciative of it, so we can get rid of some of that stuff in our inventory and merchandise room, because it's full. We got a lot of stuff in there. We want to get rid of it. So please go buy some shirts, go buy some keychains, go buy some croc charms, go buy whatever. We got it all for you. So please go make sure you go and support our school by going to buy some of our merchandise. And the merchandise is cool too. We don't have no cheap stuff. We got the champion sweaters and the good t-shirts, and they ain't gonna fade and none of that good stuff. You can wash it 30 times, do what you need to do. But yeah, they real good and real comfortable. We got plenty of reviews from our different fans. So absolutely.
And where they get the merch again? Say that one more time for them.
The xforboys.org/shop. Alex just put it. She said she got a discount code coming soon, but we got a lot of stuff. Got our Make Men Great Again sweatshirt. Let Us Make Men sweatshirt. What else we got on there? Let's see. So we got our t-shirts, Big Boy Faith, our Face Fear shirt, hats, you name it. We got it all, man. We got it all. Keychains, more shirts, tumblers, everything. And then also you can go in there and sponsor a son for school. We have all that stuff on there for people to be able to do for our school. So
wow. We're gonna do also that video we were playing that you narrated over. We're gonna put that link in the chat for people to go.
Oh yeah. Our documentary is on there too. You want to check out our doc? We did a documentary a while ago. And it shows basically like how opening the school and stuff. It's pretty interesting. I think you'd enjoy it actually if you purchase it and get the link to download. Man, I think you love it. It just shows a little a brief birthing of the school. Just a few months before school opened, and just us painting and all that stuff and the little hiccups we had. It's a pretty cool documentary. I think you'd like it.
Okay. All right. So you got the doc, you got the merch,
Yes,
at the shirts, t-shirts, sweatshirts. Anything else in terms of the merchandise in that you have?
I think that's about it. And I think
We got a like a thermostat hat also.
Yep, all of it. We got the whole
Keychain. Okay.
Dang.
Lanyards. Okay.
got ties,
Definitely.
got everything. Yes, sir.
Definitely go support this young brother, support what they're doing. Shout out again to Alex Van Dyke and all your people, your team members.
That's the GOAT. That's who I really be wanting y'all to interview. And Alex is like the GOAT of the school. Like y'all see me, like it's my idea, and then Alex just go and just like make all the logistics happen. Like, cause I do all like the hard hand work, and she does all the typing and the papers and the designing the website and making sure the student handbook is done and talking to the parents and blah blah blah. That's the team mom. Like she's the one. You know, we love Alex to death. That's who fusses at me. That's who gives me the business. That's who I don't listen to as much as as often as I should. But that's the person I need to be listening to all the time. But that's Alex. She needs to be the one that's interviewed because she's awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, we definitely should work on that. Work on getting that interview done.
She's not gonna do it. I'm just letting you know. She's not gonna do it. Yeah,
No,
that's no thank you. Yeah, she's not gonna do it, but she is awesome. I'll get her to do one with me one day, but she's definitely not gonna do one by herself.
Oh, listen, that works. That definitely works. We can definitely, get that done. So we're gonna put the link in the chat for the YouTube video, the one that went viral. And I want to say thank you for coming out tonight. But if you can hang out backstage while we close out,
Sure.
Just want to talk to you for a minute. All right, brother.
Yes, sir.
Family, salute this brother, support him, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
All right, thank you so
All
much.
right, brother. Peace. So, family, thank you for coming out tonight or this afternoon on this Sunday. We had a powerful discussion with a powerful young brother, Brother King Randall, and all the hard work he's doing here with the Extra Boys program and the Life of Preparatory School for Boys, two extremely extraordinary, powerful programs. Definitely want to give him a strong shout out and support and make sure we keep that program very vibrant. Also, as we make our announcements. For those who are not signed up for the newsletter, please go ahead and do so. It's free. Something that you'll love, something you enjoy is something that we use to keep the family abreast of things that are going on. Also, we have the Powerful Unity Conference. The brother spoke earlier about just receiving, pushback. We experience our own pushback here in HAPI. And we want people to understand the parameters of it. And the one way you do that is by checking out the Powerful Unity Conference, all available on hapifilm.com, as well as the film on digital or DVD. We also have some other announcements coming up soon, which we will be making that in the next few HAPI Talks. And also the merchandise. Always have one of the HAPI shirts on. Then we have the compass. One of my favorites. Get a chance, just definitely support. Thank you. Shout out to Gene Smith for your lovely donation. Like I said, always there with us. Definitely appreciate that. And we look forward to having you soon again, people, with us on the next program. With that, we'll say peace.
I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority. Honestly,
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?